Hi guys, this is Julia for Ways to Wonder. Today I will be interviewing Katie. Katie is living full time in her RV, cruising through the US. She has been on the road for quite some time now, and I'm really excited to hear about her experiences and how COVID affected her travels. So let's call her. Hey Katie, thank you for jumping on this Skype call with me. I'm really excited to be hearing about your experiences. So we met in the US when I was traveling with my partner at the time, and we met at Flow Toys, which was awesome because you were the first person I met living in an RV as well at the time. So it was really exciting to communicate about living in an RV and traveling through the US. So, yes, please tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you originally from and where are you right now?
Hey everyone, my name is Katie. Like Jules said, I was actually born overseas in Germany. Both of my parents were in the US military, and so they met and were married. My brother and I were both born overseas, and we spent a lot of our childhood living overseas. And I grew up mostly, though, after that in Kentucky, here in the United States. So I went to school and uni there. And then after I graduated from uni, I decided that I didn't really have a set career path and I didn't want to stay there. And so I bought an RV and I hit the road. But I think having a family that traveled, we weren't around extended family a lot. I think that really influenced my desire to travel and be comfortable living on the road and not always being around family or close friends and having to meet new people constantly and put yourself out there. And so I attribute a lot of that in my childhood to wanting to travel and being pretty comfortable living on the road and not having that comfort of family and friends around you all the time.
And where did you start out your travels?
In Kentucky.
In Kentucky. And where are you right now?
Now I'm in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, very nice. So where have you been when you first heard about Corona?
I was in Phoenix still. This is kind of jumping ahead, but because of Corona, I decided to stay put in Phoenix, Arizona, and kind of ride out the quarantine here in the US and wait to find out what was happening with travel. So I found out in early March. So I don't watch TV, I don't watch the news. So I had no idea what was happening. And in the beginning of March, I was here in Phoenix to do some photography events. Um, so this whole time I've been on the road living in my RV. Of course, you have to have some sort of income unless you've just saved up a bunch of money, which is awesome if you do. But I was doing photography on the road, primarily at sporting events. And so I was here in Phoenix. The weather is beautiful year round, and so they're always playing sports. So in March, I was supposed to work a couple weekends and take photos of baseball teams and events. And the first weekend at that event, it was really weird. There was just like a very bizarre energy in the like at the event. And after that, I spoke to my parents who still live in Kentucky, and they told me about this coronavirus. And
So
I
you didn't know about it at all. You didn't
no,
hear. Okay.
no. They told me about it, and I talked to one of my friends here in Phoenix about it, and we both just, it's kind of sad looking back, but we both laughed about it and thought that it was just a big joke, and that it was going to blow over really quickly. And then the next weekend, I was at this baseball event again, and it was even more bizarre and more weird there. And then the last, like that Sunday, it was like March 15th, um, the event coordinator told me that the rest of the month was canceled and they didn't know when they would be playing again, and that the city was going to be going into quarantine. And so I started freaking out, and I was like, okay, I'm going to pack up my RV. I'm going to head to the mountains. I'm going to get out of town. I'm going to buy all the canned food I can get, and I'm just going to leave and go somewhere where there's fresh water and just ride things out in my RV because I can. And I'm already set up to live off the grid and not be in a city. Um, and I didn't do that initially, but I did leave town several times just to get away from the craziness of things. But yeah, that's how I found out, through work, my parents. Um, but I thought it was a joke. I really didn't think it was going to be a big deal.
And that's when you first realized the impact that Corona had on the world as well, like at this event when they told you that they're gonna go in quarantine.
Yeah, yeah, because they were outdoor events, like all outside, not confined, and I started learning more about it and actually trying to watch the news and see what was going on. Um, and it was, a respiratory illness and transferred through, breathing and airborne. And so I thought, okay, well, things outside should be fine because you're not in close quarters. But the entire city within a few days shut down and went into a 14-day stay-at-home order, where you were only supposed to leave for essential, like to get groceries or to seek medical help. And that was really bizarre because my house was on wheels. So technically I was always at home, just driving around. And so that was a really weird feeling, to kind of feel like I had freedom still and could go places and park in different areas of the city. But going to grocery stores was very, very intense. People seemed very frantic and very scared. Um, I don't know if this happened everywhere, but here in the US, people really freaked out about toilet paper, and like it was sold out, and paper products. And I thought, I don't understand why toilet paper is a big deal. Like, you have a shower in your house, you could always just take a shower after you use the bathroom. But it was a really weird first 2 weeks once we had quarantine here, 14 days, total lockdown. Things were weird.
Yeah, fun fact, in Europe it was the same. Toilet paper was sold out. Very
I
impressive. So how did Corona change your travel plans?
In every single way. I had a lot of big plans to go back to the Midwest and the East Coast of the US, to take more photos. And I had actually hired and asked some of my friends back in Kentucky to come and work with me over the summer. And I had events lined up in multiple states. I also had a lot of music festivals I was going to. I was also going to work a music festival for the first time and take photos at a music festival in North Dakota, which is really what I want to do in the future, is go to music festivals and take photos of the people there, like your camp groups or individual photos, like those candid shots in the moment that sometimes you just can't get those shots when you're having fun with your friends. And so I want to do that. And I was offered a job to do that. And so I had, for the first time in 2.5 years on the road, I had like a month by month plan of where I was going and the jobs I was working and who I was working with and where I was staying. And so it was like the most organized I had ever been, traveling and living on the road. And then it all just like dissolved in front of me. And it was poof, gone. None of those things are happening. And so I decided pretty early on to just stay put in Phoenix. It was weird how concerned people were with even car travel here. And my parents are awesome, and they're like a huge support system. So that's why I talk about them a lot. But they really recommended that I stay in Phoenix at the beginning of things, because we weren't sure here in the US if things were really going to go under like martial law and roads were going to be closed. national parks close pretty quickly, and when that happened, that really kind of scared me because national parks and public land was a huge parking opportunity for me in the RV. Like, I could go 30 minutes outside of any major city and park on free land. And that was being closed and taken away from travelers. And so I did have some fear about getting on the road and leaving the state because I was worried, what if I get to New Mexico on the way back to Kentucky and they close state borders? And now I'm stuck in New Mexico and I don't know anyone here and I don't have anywhere to park. Whereas here in Phoenix, I had developed a friend network and a community here of people who were allowing me to park in their driveway and use their shower. That was a big thing as well. Even though I have an RV with a bathroom, I was worried about where I was going to get water, and the gym's closed. And the gym was my primary source of going and getting a shower. And if I hadn't had friends here in Phoenix, I wouldn't have been able to find a public shower when things were initially shut down. So it just made sense for me to stay in Phoenix and cancel all of those plans for about 6 months and just kind of put things on hold.
Mm-hmm. Did you experience any differences in social interactions with people?
Yes. In person and on social media, traveling and moving around, social media becomes a really important way of how you stay connected to your friends, which that's how you and I stay connected as we respond to each other's Instagram stories and posts. And that's really how I keep in touch with a lot of people that I meet on the road. And I was seeing things that they were posting and their views on quarantine and their views on coronavirus, and then trying to interact with them on social media became sometimes really heated and really aggressive, and people who I thought were very similar to me were having these really different views and like really intense conversations over the phone, which was really difficult at times. So that was really interesting. And then definitely in person. Yeah, like here, Phoenix, Arizona. Arizona is a pretty conservative state here in the US. It's also very, um, it still kind of feels like you're in the Old West. Like, people carry guns openly, and there are ranches, and there's just this mindset of don't fuck with us because we have
Mm-hmm.
guns. And um, that it's like very bizarre kind of to be living here and staying here when I don't really align with those views. But yeah, people here, like going to the grocery store, even getting gas at a gas station, which is about the only out in public thing I've done for 6 months. Um, People don't make eye contact. They don't smile. Now we're all wearing masks, so I can't tell if they're smiling or not. But eye contact is down. People do try to keep that 6 foot distance here for the most part. And I've seen people get in arguments in stores about that distance. So there's a huge polarity, I feel like, and a lot of division happening as a result of this virus that I've seen. And then I go to a live music event in the desert last week, and people are hugging and dancing, and no one's wearing a mask, and people are just having fun. And so to see that was a huge kind of relief to me, because I thought, okay, not everyone is terrified and just living in fear. And so that was really encouraging to see. But overall, a lot of changes in social interaction.
So, do you think that there are any changes now with the measurements for Corona, or do you think like nothing is moving at all?
Things are slowly moving here. June 1st, the city was trying to reopen. Um, and so I was able to work a few photography events in June. And there I felt like people were very casual and things seemed kind of to be back to normal. But then after a few weeks of that, those cases here in Phoenix spiked again. And so everything shut down for another 3 months. And so this month in September is like our second opening. And I think that things are better. I also think that They're like more people are aware that maybe some things about this disease are being um, amplified by media and news coverage, and that it's not quite as dangerous to open and like go out if you're a healthy individual as things have been portrayed for 6 months. And I think overall, I think Americans in general have this attitude of, you know, this is supposed to be the land of the free and the home of the brave, and you're supposed to have personal autonomy and be able to do what you want and go where you want, as long as you're not inflicting harm on another. And I think that's where there's been a huge disparity with coronavirus, is because we've been told if you go out, you could infect someone else. And so by exercising your personal freedom, you very well could be harming other people. And that's a really like scary line to try to, how do I live my life without harming someone else? But also I just want to go out and like have a beer with my friends at a bar. um, and so here the general rules have been you have to wear a mask in public, um, which I see people doing. I do it in public even though I personally don't agree with it. But I've just kind of resigned myself to, I'd rather protect and help someone who is compromised with their health. So you have to wear a mask in public. If you go to a restaurant, like my partner and I went to a restaurant yesterday, and you have to wear a mask walking in, but then when you sit at your table, you can take the mask off. Um, so it's kind of it's weird. Things are slowly opening. I think people are calming down a lot here. The grocery stores aren't as hectic and wild. Um, so I think things are getting better.
And what are your further travel plans?
Um, I think for through the winter, I'll stay in Phoenix, primarily for weather. It's like the best place to be in the winter here in the States, just about. Um, and hopefully my photography business continues to pick back up and I'm able to schedule more events and work and live here in Phoenix. Another really positive thing about me staying here is I had recently started seeing someone right before Corona hit, and then when I decided to stay in Phoenix through the summer, we decided to continue that relationship. And so his name is Chapo, and we are navigating a new relationship during a pandemic, during unemployment, during being quarantined. So there's like a lot of moving parts there that he and I have been navigating together. Um, and so now that also factors into my lifestyle and my travel plans is, do we travel together? Do I leave and come back? Is Phoenix kind of my home base? And so there are a lot of conversations with that, which I've traveled with romantic partners in the past. I've never felt as confident about one as I do now. And so that's really cool and exciting. And so for everything that Corona caused to be taken away from my plans, it's been really sweet to have a romantic partner to share this experience with. And who knows, in 40 years, we could be telling grandkids, oh, during the times of Corona, this is what we did. And so that's been really sweet. And so we're navigating our lives together now and traveling and what that means for us. But I think for the foreseeable future, I will be kind of rooted here in Phoenix. The summer heat is kind of dying off. And so the winter months are going to be really nice. And we'll just kind of keep taking things day at a time.
Yeah, I wish you all the best for that. It sounds like there's lots of uncertainty, but you're looking into the future positively and with optimism. And yeah, I wish you all the best also for the relationship to grow and to thrive.
Thank you.
And of course, we will keep in touch. And I'm excited to keep on following your journey. And until next time.
Likewise. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to see this interview series continue and, of course, keep in touch with you. And thanks for thinking of me to be part of this.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was really exciting to hear about your experiences and opinions. Was very interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching this episode on traveling in Corona times. If you're enjoying my videos, don't forget to like and hit that subscribe button.